The real estate market often seems like a distant world where only an elite of experts is successful. In a time of so much uncertainty in the air and bad news, real estate investing can seem intimidating. But today, I want to tell you that if you make the right decision today, you can enter the real estate market from the back door. Bad credit record? No credit at all. Do you dread the idea of having a home loan? Do you dream of owning investment properties? You are in the right place and right time, because we have created a program which is a tax lien and deed investment online course of only 14 hours. This course is specially designed for people like you who have big dreams. You will learn at your own pace and everything from your home computer. This is your chance. Join our membership for $19.99 a year. What are you waiting for? Visit our website primetimehomebuyerBuyback.org and sign up today for course access.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Primetime Home Buyers, the buyback team. You're here with your host, Lady Lashley, on another episode, how can I say, seminar that we're hosting for the next couple of weeks down at the Fulton County Library in Atlanta. Welcome, welcome. If you have been following us, we have been doing a series of seminars highlighting economic development. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure we got this going to be playing correctly. All right. So just to give you guys a flashback, again, my name is Lady Lashley. I'm the owner of Primetime Home Buyers, alternative real estate investment program, where I teach you how to do your due diligence, researching law, titles, deeds, and everything else. This is what we're here to do, but not today. What we want to do is get you into the mindset of success. For the last couple of weeks, we've been having a series of, as I say, economic development seminars for adults. So if you haven't seen that, please go back and look on our timeline. We did assets versus liability the first week, understanding the building blocks of financial health. We went into stretching every dollar, budgeting and savings tips for controlled or low income. We don't want to call ourselves low income. We have controlled income, okay? Building a legacy, 7 key concepts to passing down general wealth. We didn't only talk about money mechanics, but we talked about unity, collective unity, communication, and when to start having these conversations with your kid about what and how to do it. Okay, making the talk about money and generational wealth normalized, okay, so we can make better decisions because we have built up a level of comfortability talking about money and how it should be spent and how it shouldn't. Then we went on to preparing to win, essential skills to master before diving into the investment market. And basically last week we talked about being able to do your due diligence, things to focus in when it comes to particular investments and things to look for, how to examine it. The same way that you'll look at your stocks, or you'll look at your portfolio and you're seeing the trends, you're seeing the history of whatever you're invested in. That's the same approach that you need to have when you're dealing with business partners, when you're dealing with different sectors of investment, be it housing, be it just whatever. We want you to do your due diligence. That's where we lacked the last couple of years, especially in the Black community. We have jumped in head first for a lot of things that looked nice but really was not nice for us, and we end up losing a lot of money. I.e., example, the Black House. We're going to say that, okay? So today, what we're doing is a combo. We're going to be doing creating leverage through assets acquisition, the power of owning your future, and we're going to combine 4 keys to, well, actually it's 5 keys to building a business that secures assets for investments. So let's get to it. Thank you for being here with Lady Lashley today. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday. Just remember that we're here every Wednesday at the Adams Street Library at 2 p.m. doing our economic development seminars. So let's get to it. Creating leverage through asset acquisitions, the power of owning your future. Why asset acquisitions create leverage? We're going to touch that topic. Examples of asset that generates leverage and building your asset base. a strategic approach. What is leverage? If anybody knows, leverage is basically you having, how can I say, power to make something happen because you have this particular item. Let's give you an example. As a tax lien investor, someone who gets into the market may not have good credit, may not have a lot of money, but then they invested in a tax lien and end up acquiring the land. Then they can use that assets as leverage to obtain an actual line of credit or a loan to take and build more on whatever market they're interested in. Does that make sense? So that's what we're hitting today. Knowing your leverage that you create with the assets. Why asset acquisition? Okay, why asset acquisition creates leverage? All right, think of assets as tiny, tierless workers building your wealth even while you sleep. Here's how they contribute to your leverage. Passive income generation, appreciation in value, and increased borrowing power. When we just talked about borrowing power when you get a little leverage. All right, so passive income generation. Many assets such as rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, or royalties from intellectual property generate passive income. This income is not dependent on your direct labor, freeing up your time and resources, pursuing other opportunities, or scaling existing ones. This is the essence of leverage, making money without consistently trading in your time, okay? That's what you want to do, create leverage, all right? So, appreciation and value. Some assets like real estate creates commodities or even collectibles can increase in value over time. So a house is like a collectible. You got baseball cards, you got different things that are considered assets for different individuals, which can create leverage for you. So we want you guys to be diverse when you're thinking about assets and leverage, okay? So this appreciation provides a potential source of capital gains, further increasing your wealth and providing funds for future investments. This is like a snowball rolling down the hill, gaining size and momentum as it goes. So you need to think about certain projects or investments that will do that for you. That is like a snowball effect where you don't have to put a lot of time and money. I.e., example, if you have vending machines, that is something that will create leverage for you. You'll have to put it to work at first, get some vending machines in different places, but all you got to do is pick it up and keep it full. Okay, so that is a way to acquire asset and make sure that it creates a snowball effect of leverage for you. Increasing borrowing power, just like we talked about, owning valuable assets can improve your credit worthiness and open doors to more favorable loan terms, exactly what we explained. That's why I find it so important for us to invest in alternative real estate avenues, because the conventional way is pretty hard. But if you go the foreclosure way, the deed or the tax lien way, you'll be able to increase your borrowing power, which creates more leverage for you. This allows you to leverage the existing assets to acquire even more, creating a virtuous cycle of growth. For example, a strong portfolio of stocks might allow you to secure a low interest loan to invest in a promising business venture. So I never knew you could use stocks as a basis, but if you got a good stock portfolio, that may help you depending on the lender, okay? Now, why assets acquisitions create leverage? Tax advantages. Certain assets, particularly real estate, often comes with tax advantages that can significantly reduce your tax burden and free up more capital for investment. These advantages act as a financial multiplier, allowing you to keep more of what you earn. Example, where we told you, where you can hold a property after you buy it instead of liquidating and getting the assets out of it, which is the equity. You can hold that, and because you did not sell and you just bought a property, that will lower your tax liability, or you can spread that tax liability over years, creating more leverage for you, okay? Now, the diversification is very important. Diversify and mitigating, that's what we're talking about. That is very important. Mitigating risk factors. I am the mitigating risk factor queen. I am the preventative nurse. I want to prevent you guys from losing your money, bleeding out, okay? So diversification and risk management, holding a diverse portfolio of assets across different sectors and geographics help to mitigate risk. If one asset underperforms, the other can buffer the impact, protecting your overall wealth and ensuring a more stable financial future. So that is, if you invest in real estate, you want to invest in another market that can make sure that you have money, just in case the real estate market, you're not able to cash out. Maybe you into stocks, maybe into Bitcoin, maybe you into gold. You need to diversify that portfolio. Maybe you invest in businesses around the neighborhood that actually makes you money. Diversify your portfolio. That's very important. That's how you create leverage. And leverage as well. Diversifying your portfolio means diversifying your connections. They are assets that creates leverage. You don't just make connections just because that's what's wrong with our society now. We just gonna go with this person because they famous. No, you want to have a connection with them. You want to know they're honorable, that they're on the same plane as you, and you possibly can do business together. That's what creates leverage, not just jumping and connecting to someone because they're doing this and doing that, okay? So these are concepts of how we actually create leverage, okay? Example of assets that generates leverage. Example, real estate, you know I love it. Next week we will be going into the triad of investment. So we're going to be getting into the 3 different forms that you can get into real estate. That's going to be our buffer program, seminar for next week. And then the week after that, we're going to go right into economic development for leaders. All right, leaders, we need you. All right, so example of creating leverage, you can do it through real estate, stocks and bonds, businesses, intellectual property, precious metals and commodity. It don't always have to be real estate. Rental properties under real estate, we talked about land or even owning your home in the long term. They didn't say own it right now with a mortgage, but in the long term. All right, can appreciate in value and generate rental income. Appreciate means get down, get more, okay? Stocks and bonds, dividends from stocks and interest from bonds provide passive income and potential for capital. Again, y'all want to know the market. The concept that I've taught you over the last couple of weeks will make you think and make it a little bit more easier for you to enter every single market, because all you have to do is do your due diligence in it and actually look at it from a non-biased perspective, meaning you're looking at all angles, the up and down, and how this will work for me or don't work for me. As I mentioned, investing in people business. Sometimes you just want to be a solid partner. If you have that, you know, in you, that is great. Just make sure that you know what business you're investing in, that you truly supporting. Okay, so business, owning a profitable business or investing, even a small one, can generate significant income and build an equity. As I mentioned, build your business or whatever you move forward on something that you love to do. And that's the same thing with a career. And that's what I always tell my kids, whatever you do, make sure that you like it and you love it. Because it really will work against you mentally if you're into a business or you're working somewhere that you are not compatible with, okay? Intellectual properties like royalties, okay, from patents, books, music, and other creative works can generate passive income. People can generate books on Amazon very easy, okay? You can make a book, talk about your life, book about this, book about that. Just be creative, and that becomes an asset. Even though you put your little initial work in, that first 6 months was hard. You had to come up with the concept. Once you have things like that, that's your intellectual property, and they're just running on running platforms like Amazon, that's passive income. That's creating assets. That's going to create leverage for you. Precious metal and commodities. That's one thing that I learned from one of my uncles. He used to collect baseball cards and quarters. And I was like, man, this is ridiculous. Why are you doing this? And then, as the years went by, he still has them, and he like, this car worth this car worth this. And so they can become assets and create leverage for you. So other commodities like gold, silver, oil can be commodities. Please know what you're investing in before you do it. That's all I'm saying. I love gold though. Gold is something that's nice and steady. It's gonna actually, it's God's wealth. That's what they said. That's what gold is. All right, building an assets base is a strategic approach. Okay, that's why we're doing 2-in-1 because we're going to put these together. Acquire assets is not a get rich quick scheme. Remember that. It requires careful planning, research, and disciplined execution. Here are some key steps to consider. Always consider your financial assessment. Can you do it? Is it worth it? Am I going to get anything in the end? Understand your current financial situation, including your home expenses, debt, and net worth. This is why we did assets versus liabilities, prioritizing your spending, figuring out what matters to you. Once you know what matters to you, what you need, you have separated your needs from your want. Now you prioritize it in your own life. Once you're able to prioritize in your own life, pay your bills on time, save money, then you'll be able to prioritize in any business because you're going to have those values. That is what we're here to set. New values and standards in our community without all the extra pressure, okay? Because this is going to be you setting values into you. There's no one else checking you. This is about self-development for us to self-develop, okay? Understanding your financial goals. Define your financial goals such as retirement. When do you want to retire? Where do you want to retire? Early financial independence or funding your children's education. When are they going to school? What do what do you need? Now, I know sometimes life can be on life and things don't work perfectly, but having a financial goal and some, point of reference where you want to go is very important, okay? Education and research. That's all I stress. Education, and research. That is my best friend. As I told you, just like we said last week, they can take every single thing from you physically. They can take it from you. You can lose everything, but what they cannot take is your mind. If you have a strong mind and you know how to maneuver, you can take that anywhere around the world and make it happen, okay? So education and research is the key to success in our community, all right? And I want you guys to know that Lady Lashley stressed it. I walked in this library today and I said, I love the library. Books, computers, peace. The library is my friend. Okay, now, building your assets based on strategic approach also includes starting small. You don't have to start off big. That's another thing. And that with me too. Sometimes a little small steps, you're like, oh, we ain't getting nowhere. But starting off small means a lot. Also, it sets a strong foundation. It starts with a cornerstone and a brick by brick to actually create a whole house. You don't want nobody to just pull something out the box and just put it there. You got a house. You're going to ask some questions. Okay? So starting small, do not be intimidated by ideas of acquiring expensive assets. Start with smaller ones, more manageable investments, and gradually scale up as you gain experience. That's just like with Forex. Some of these stock platforms, they allow you to play around with it, learn about it, start small, or even start with fake money. Those are the things that you want to do. You want to learn before you go jump into anything. And as I mentioned, I'm going to stress it every week. If someone doesn't allow you to ask questions, then that may not be a smart investment. That may not be someone that you want to do business with, okay? Diversification, spread your investment across different assets classes to mitigate risk. That's what we talked about. Patience and long-term perspective. You can't be fickle. Emotional intelligence. That's what we talked about 2 weeks ago. Having that emotional intelligence to start something, stick by it. It may not be that easy. It may not look that good, but just keep pushing and striving, and you will build the foundational bricks that you need to succeed. And I mean, I have watched certain businesses start from literally walking around selling things off their back and shoulder and then able to acquire a place, okay? So start small. Don't think like you have to be like the Joneses. That's one of our issues where us as Black people try to keep up with the high-end things and we're not even prepared to take care of our immediate needs. We have to stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Remember, the internet is not real. It's only as real as you make it. Does that make sense? So a lot of, like I mentioned, it's going off topic, a lot of mental health issues has come to part over the last couple of years because people are living a facade. People are trying to live up to something that's not even real, what they're seeing on Instagram and TikTok. So I just want you guys to know that that is as real as you make it. And you have to define your life with your life. Be grateful for what you got. Small makes me small to you, but maybe big to somebody else. So just be grateful. That's what I'm saying. Don't go chasing after the Joneses because you probably doing better. And I'm gonna say this, better than the Joneses. A lot of them are dirt poor and messed up, perpetrating the fraud. That's not what we're doing here. We started from scratch, started from little increment steps of learning how to budget, how to save, where to find resources, how to look at people in their behaviors, in the way they set up their businesses. Can we do business with them? Just really looking at things from a realistic perspective so you can save yourself the time, the heartache, and the funds, okay? All right, so this is the conclusion of this part right here. Conclusion. Creating leverage through assets acquisition is a powerful strategy for building wealth and achieving financial freedom. By understanding the principles of assets ownership and adopting a strategic approach, have a plan. It may not work the way you want to, but you got to have a plan. I know some people are like, I just move by God. I just move it. And you can, but you're going to be all over the place. Okay? You at least want to strategize. And if this doesn't work out, maybe he wants you to go in this direction, but you at least you have something structured. You can unlock the potential of amplifying your efforts just because it's structured and you're not just jumping on a whim, going from thing to thing, and generate passive income and secure a brighter financial future. It is about shifting your mindset. That's what we're here for. Shift your mindset from being a consumer to being a homeowner or being an owner. I do apologize. Building the foundations of asset that works tirelessly for you, enabling you to achieve your dreams. All right? In the long run, owning assets is not just about wealth. It's not about being wealthy. It's about being happy, for one, free to be, and three, being able to pass generational wealth to your family in a manner that they will be able to sustain it, and realistically monetize on it. Does that make sense? So in the long run, owning assets is not just about wealth, it's about building a life opportunity, independent and true leverage, okay? So now we're gonna get to part two. Let's get out of the way. Thank you for being with us. And now we're gonna go to our second part of the seminar. Primetime Home Buyers, presented to you by Lady Lashley, five keys to building a business that secures assets. So since we're talking about assets and mindset and everything else, we're just going to continue. Here we go. This is for us. Develop a clear business plan. Focus on building strong cash reserves. Diversify your asset bases. We're going to have to keep saying it. Don't just stick to one thing. I have to say it. I'm going to use my kids as an example. One thing my son has learned is to diversify his base. He's seen it. We have helped him start a business, and the business, when it goes slow, if he has something else to fall back on, it's a better opportunity for him to seed into himself and that business. And like I say, use it as a buffer. So don't just focus on one thing. Have a backup plan, A, B, and C. You never know. You never know. So diversify your assets base. And assets is what? Relationships, your knowledge, that type of stuff, okay? Implement effective asset management practices. Wasteful spending is definitely an issue. We'll get into that. Reinvest portfolio for long-term growth. Think about the long term. Don't think about the instant gratification. Yeah, we gonna go to Dubai. Don't go to Dubai and get locked up. Have too much fun. Save some money. Maybe when you go to Dubai, save enough money to buy some property. Yeah, looking for the long-term growth. I'm just saying, maybe it's just me, because if I'm going somewhere, I'm making plans. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make the monetize off of it as much as I can. All right, so that's the concept we're going to get into real quick. Thank you for being with Lady Lashley. I appreciate you guys being part of the Security Energy team as well as the buyback team. Again, we will be here every week for the next 7 weeks, completing the economic development seminar that's going to be focused on leaders in Atlanta, infrastructure, pertinent business that should be happening in urban areas, and how to empower yourself, because our government is not going to do it. Okay? Let's go. Now, developing a clear business plan. I know business plan, terribleness, but I promise you, if you do the business plan at first, it'll probably take you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but it will structurize your outlook on your business. It will give you a foundation of what the market looks like and how you're going to step in it. What will be your approach? What are your competitors? It is good to do that. And then you have your business plan already. And then you go for a business loan. It's already done because you structurized that at the beginning. And then you changing it, you growing, you have a market outlook, you have an investment outlook, you have an income outlook, whatever. It's all there. You can literally just move on for it like, bam, trying to get a loan. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, a well-crafted business plan is the foundations of any successful enterprise. It outlines your company mission, vision, strategies for achieving your financial goals and achieving business plan. And achieve this business plan should include, now we want you to have this and you'll know, a description of your product and services. That's going to help you determine who's your audience, how you're going to approach them, how would they want you to approach them, where could you sell your products, what industry you're in. Market analyzation and target audience, same thing. If you're selling cars, selling jewelry, whatever, you got a target market. If you're buying stocks, selling stocks, whatever, you got a target market. Those type of things. Competitive landscaping and competitive advantage. What is the landscaping of this? Is this prominent right now? Is the competitive advantage because you're well knowledged in it now, that it's blowing up and you are the guru? Okay, so have a clear business plan, know the competitive landscape, create advantages. And even if you're not a guru, you want to know who the people are that are well-rounded in your business and start to learn from them. You can learn from everyone. You don't have to be like them, but it's good to learn. Organization structure and management team is very important. If you're into wholesaling, if you're into selling houses, products, whatever it is, you have to have your distribution company, you have to have your go-tos already, kind of have an idea, this is going to be the person the lawyer's going to help me write my contracts for my home, or this is going to be the manufacturing company that I deal with because they get their products out. I love them, this is what we do. So that is organization structure and management team. Have that together. Have that already a plan, and if that doesn't work, you'll probably have another suggestion and get things rolling. Marketing and sales strategy, and that all starts with the description of your products, what we talked about at the beginning. Once you know your description of your products, who you selling to, you're gonna know how to sell. I'm kind of in between the old people and the young people, and even like I gotta give an example because my son, his people, they deal with a variety of these young kids. Photographing, car shows, clothes, all types of stuff. But what that goes to say, marketing and sales strategies starts with how the group maneuver. What is the social norm? What are the platforms that they're using? Know your industry. So it starts with the description of your products. You see what I'm saying? Like even with me, I will find certain platforms are more receptible to what I'm doing than other platforms. So they got to make sense. Financial projection including revenue, expenses, and cash flow, and possible loss. Nobody talks about the possible loss except for pessimistic people like me. I'm like, this market looking crazy. Oh, we gotta prepare. So if you pessimistic like me, add that onto that possible loss. You never know. And what would you be your backup plan to regain your foot? All right. Thank you for being with us today. So focus on building strong cash reserves. Easier said than done, but every penny counts. And that's why we talked about budget and saving at the beginning. Because you're like, I can save $5,000, but if you spend, say, $20 a week, or whatever you like, 20 is your base, and then more if you can, that's going to get you further than you not even doing it. How about that? So focus on building a strong cash flow, and that is with discipline. That is with discipline. Cash reserves are the lifeblood of your business. What did I say? You don't want to bleed out. Lady Lashley, I'm the preventative nurse here. You don't want to bleed out. All right. They provide a financial cushion during challenging times, enabling you to take advantage of growth opportunities and helping secure assets for investment to build a strong cash reserve. Prioritize profitability. Ensure your business generates significant profit to cover operation expenses and reinvest in the company. You do have to be diverse. We're not saying jump from plan to plan, but your goal is to make money. So if you see one strategy not working, you give yourself 30 to 60 days. If that's too long, 30 to days, and then implement something a little different while you're weaning this out. Okay, so prioritize your profitability. But then too, I will say, sometimes you really just gotta get into the business. And as we stated, there's times where you don't make any money as a business owner, like you literally just made it. You know what I'm saying? No profit, but no loss. So don't feel away about that, because it is about putting that time in. Managing working capital effectively, optimizing inventory levels, payment terms, and collections to maintain a healthy cash flow. So don't be like how I used to be back in the day, where I was like, okay, people would email me or just ask questions that I know they should consultate for. Very deep information. And I used to, if I didn't provide it, people used to feel away. And I used to be like, dang, I should have just helped them and told them. And sometimes you do, but then you have to prioritize your effectiveness. What you offer is worth it. So don't minimize what you're offering because others may not want to pay. So manage working capital effectively. You optimize your inventory level, payment terms, collecting and maintaining a healthy cash flow. Because you ain't getting paid, you ain't gonna be able to eat. So don't give all your stuff away. Be comfortable in saying, hey, I do consultations, reasonable price, let's do it. You have some, it's so weird because you have some people ready to spend on things that may not be lucrative, but things that's lucrative is a little hard to sell, but it'll be okay. Implementing cost-saving measures, regularly review expenses, and identify opportunity to cost reduce without compromising quality of service. If you can find another vendor to shop at or another place to shop at to get your product, or you can switch both companies because that brokerage they just charge you too daggone much. You're taking half of your portfolio out. Pay attention to that stuff. I know you may, or if you're getting a value from him because they're actually doing a good job, you gotta kind of keep that in mind. So set aside funds for emergency. You remember I told you that's part of the Bible. Tithing. You don't just into the church. You tithe into yourself. You put some money to the side. Tithe into your generation. That's important. That's where tithing come into your community. Not going just to buy clothes and things. I'm talking about tithing in for generational wealth to build up. When you tithe into yourself, you put into a savings. That is tithing into your family and generations if you're managing it properly. So it's not selfish to tithe into yourself, but tithing is based on giving back, and that's what God wants you to do. So you can pick any avenue you want. Set aside funds for emergencies, as we just talked about, establishing reserve funds to cover unforeseen expenses or revenue shortfalls. A general rule of thumb is to maintain enough cash to cover over 3 to 6 months worth of operational fees. But how can I say, that is something we would love to do. This economy, I can say 30 to 60 days. Let's cross our fingers. At least try to prioritize that, okay? Because we know there's a severe financial gap between the rich and the middle class. So people who are considered rich, they'll be able to do that 3 to 6 months. Us middle class, they have almost stripped our savings. So I know what we go, you know what we're going through. So I'm saying at least give yourself 30 to 60 days worth of savings, okay? Next, diversify, diversify, diversify. It is very important. Don't just stick to one thing. You'll find yourself in a rut once that market collapses or if it's not needed. Diversify your skills. Like I said, whatever you learn, they can't take it from you. You want to learn how to fix plumbing, fix walls, do hair, nails, make things. Diversify your assets. Should bring power, okay? So as we talked about, the real estate is diversifying equipment. Did you ever think about that? Huh? You can rent out equipment. You can maybe start your own lawn services where you're renting out lawn equipment, or you're renting out jacks, or you're renting out things that Home Depot do for whatever. But if you are creative, there's ways that you can make extra money diversifying your assets. You just got to be creative, for real. We talked about the vending machine thing, all types of stuff. Maybe that's not your first forte, but be creative, okay? Equipment purchasing and leasing, machinery, vehicles, technology to support your operation and improve efficiency. You know how people were doing the renting out their cars and things like that, how that was a fad. I would never do that, but you know, people do what they do. But that type of stuff. Intellectual property, as we talked about, protect your brand, trademark, patents, copyright, and maintain competitive edge and generate licensed revenue. Diversify your assets. So as I mentioned to people, everything that I have pretty much is trademark under my business. And I'm ready. You know, I know it's going to be an asset. It's an asset. It's my assets, my intellectual property. So same thing, protect your assets, protect what you make, protect what you invent, protect your intellectual property, because you probably end up being able to make some money off of it if you need to. All right. Now, implementing effective asset management practices. That's all about budget and savings. Okay? Yes. Once you have acquired assets, it's essential to manage them effectively to maximize their value and maintain and minimize risk, implementing the following best practices. Conduct regular audits. Periodically review your assets to ensure that they are properly maintained, insured, and being used effective. That's cars, houses, correct audit of your inventory. You see what I'm saying? Manage that stuff correctly, establish clear policies and procedures, develop guidelines for assets acquisition, disposal, maintain and secure consistency and accountability. Now, that is, you don't have to have a team to have clear policies and procedures. It is important for you to prioritize your actions so you can be successful. You have to create priorities and procedures and you follow them. If you don't follow your own priorities and procedures and a set way of going about something, how are you going to get this business to expand and you're going to get people under you to follow set rules and procedures? That's why we say pick a method, kind of stick to it, and if it's working, use it. If it's not, then diversify it. Give it a time. But then you have to be diligent enough to stick to it. Leveraging your technology. Okay, older ladies and men, you know what it is. We still trying it. But, you know, leveraging technology, utilizing assessment management software to track and monitor your assets, automated process, and generate reports. Y'all know what that is, like QuickBooks, those type of things as well. Y'all know I'm a paper and pen girl. I still like to write stuff, but when you write your checks and you need to manage it, you don't have HR or accounting, QuickBooks is really good to use, leveraging the technology. And then they also have other platforms as well that you can use to kind of like pay people, pay your bills, and run your services through. Okay? Maintain adequate insurance coverage, protect your assets from theft, damage, or loss by carrying an appropriate insurance policy. Yes. I heard somebody the other day say, my house paid off for. I don't have no problems. I'm good. And I'm like, wait, but you still got taxes and high insurance. You better have insurance on that property, because if you don't, you're going to lose it. Somebody injured, you're going to lose it. So have the proper coverage for the things. Even if you got 5 cars that you're selling, and you like, well, I don't drive this one, I'm just selling it. It got to be covered, just in case something happened to you selling it. I know I'm a little cornball, but it should be, because you never know. You never know. All right, we're starting to come to the end. We have two more slides. I do want to say thank you for being here with Lady Lashley and attending our seminars. We hope to see the people who wasn't able to attend in person to come down. I'm located here with my team every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Okay? And we'll be here for the next 6 weeks at Adams Park Library in Fulton County. Okay? Implement effective asset management. I think we did that one. And now we're on 7. Reinvested profits for long-term growth. Don't do what Black Wall Street did. Message. Oh yeah, I gotta throw it out there because I literally was following to figure this out, and I wanted to be part of it, kind of see what's going on. And once I saw things were going down, before that was weird. I said, no, I'm not investing. Reinvest profits for long-term growth, and that's what they didn't do. They took all the people's money and just spent it. Yeah, I gotta say it. I went through that, and I watched. I said, thank you, Jesus, that I'm that type of person. Hopefully I can teach y'all to be that type of person that don't lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. So reinvestment is very important, even when you have a brand. Like, my son, my daughter said, when you make that money, make sure that you reinvest in your brand. Don't go spending. Don't go live your best life yet. Reinvest so you can make it bubble up for you. So to secure assets for investment is essential to reinvest profit back into the business. This strategy not only strengthens your asset base, but also fuels long-term growth and competitiveness, okay? Because once you don't have enough money to fulfill your orders or to do what you need to do for your client, your growth is slowing, your reputation is going down. So you want to be on the up and up for real, and not deal with instant gratification like we was doing in 2008. Well, what was it, 2020, around when all of that was going on in Atlanta, where we was big gurus. And right now, we still don't have generational wealth. We're going to do it right this time. This time, Trump in the office, we're going to do this right. Take our time. So, as I say, your asset is your mind. If I make that a song, y'all will remember. Research and development. Allocate funds to innovativeness, product development, and process improvement to stay ahead of competition. Learn. It's very important. Allocate funds to that. Take a class. That's worth it. I took a $2,000 seminar 2 years ago, and I started, but I didn't follow up. And now, 2 years from now, I have all the information. It was very well-rounded, very detail-orientated, given by a really credible person, and I'm finding it to be a benefit now for the things that I'm doing. So invest. You may not see it, benefit you right then, but later on in the future, invest in your education. It's very, very important. Okay? Research. Marketing and advertising. If you can. Some people just had a glow that everybody did. Try to get that glow. Increase your marketing budget to expand your customer base, enter new markets, or launch new products all the time. Don't stop. Be innovative. Training and development, invest in employees' training and development to build a skilled and motivated workforce. We don't have employees right now. If you had employees, this is what you do. If you don't, that right there, employees, your kids, your family, empower them, train them, talk to them. They may not listen now, but later on they will. And when your product blow up, they'll be right there ready to help. Get that, okay? So let's focus on that. Training and development, invest in employees training, invest in your family training. Infrastructures and facilities. Upgrade your infrastructure, equipment, or facilities, improve efficient productivity of your capacity. Now, I'm going to use that because a lot of things is online. We're just kind of interchange it a little bit. Your infrastructure right now for a lot of our businesses and things we do is online. So you want to make sure that you are up to date on these social media platforms that work for your business. What type of add-ons that you can do to make your marketing more efficient, because that's actually your infrastructure in your facilities if you don't have a mom and pop shop and it's online. You want to make sure that people are able to come to your website, that it's not crashing, there's a credible like Shopify, Wix. These places have been around for a long time. Make sure that they can hold the test of time. For instance, when you take the tax lien Indeed program, it has a lot of videos. So I had to make sure that whatever web host I use, they can hold it. They can hold it the capacity that it'll work properly for you guys. So you can pick and choose. If I went this way, it wasn't going to work. Same thing with you. You have to examine what works for you, okay? Very important. All right, so that's the infrastructure. So I don't want y'all to think that it's always just buildings, okay? Now we're coming to the end. We are about 46 minutes into the broadcast. I want to say thank you for being with Lady Lashley today. I hope we shared some great concepts with you to make you think, because it is about mindset. Once you think a certain way, you're gonna grow. You're going to move forward. Nothing's going to be able to stop you, because when we think in destructive ways, it goes the opposite way. Does that make sense? So conclusion, creating a business that secures assets for investing requires a strategic approach. What did I say? You don't have to have an employee to be strategic, okay, and proactive. By developing a clear business plan, that's the first step. That's going to help you market, know what you're doing, and set you up for that loan. Focus on building strong cash reserves, knowing your spending, priority spending, reinvesting back into your business. Don't go on trips. Okay? Take time. Do a little thing, not a big thing. Treat yourself, but don't go too far, because you want this business to last years. Focus on building strong cash reserves, diversify your assets base. Assets is what? It's in your mind too. Okay? Like school days. It's in your mind, son. It's in your mind. Y'all remember school days if y'all 80s babies. Implement effective asset management practice. That's the same thing, budgeting, saving, and spending. What's your priority? Reinvest profits for long-term growth. That's what we talked about. And you can build a resilient and prosperous enterprise that thrives in any economic climate. And that is basically what we want to do. We want to help you build a mindset that's going to make sure that you survive. You, your family, your business, the test of time. We don't want to, invest in something that's not going to yield generational wealth. And the only way that we're going to do that is by researching, development, unity, communication, being realistic, not trying to keep up with the Joneses, being grateful for what you have, working with what you have, seeding back into your community, the people that surround you, friendly competition, not hateful competition, for us to build up together, just like in Black Wall Street. Literally, they will have two different owners with two different hotels across the street from each other, and they work together. That's what they did on Black Wall Street, and that's what I want us to do. So with that goes to say, I want to say thank you for being here with Lady Lashley. It has been a pleasure being here with you guys. Again, next week, we will be moving into the triad of real estate, different alternative real estate investment. And then the next week following, we're going to start our economic development strategies for leaders, okay? And that consists of some great information, okay? So we ain't gonna give you everything right now, but we will keep you up to date. So I wanna say thank you so much for being with Lady Lashley. I will see you next week.